Northern Middle School. The board will go into executive session following the opening of public, and we hope to return promptly at 6 p.m. Under Section 3-305B of the General Provisions article of the Maryland Annotated Code, there are two reasons the board will go into closed session this evening: to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction. Any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. To consult with counsel, to obtain legal advice for legal matters. Specifically, the topics for tonight will be 3-305B1, topics including certificated staffing recommendations, personnel update. 3-305B7, topics include nationwide school district lawsuit against social media companies. The reason these topics will be discussed in closed session instead of open session follows. Personnel topics pursuant to 3-305B11 disclosed above will be considered in closed session rather than open session because they include a discussion of specific employees, which is a confidential employment matter. The legal pursuant to 3-305B7 disclosed above will be considered in closed session rather than open session because the board will be receiving specific legal advice from counsel, which is protected by attorney-client privilege. Hearing that, is there any objection from any board member of going into executive session? Hearing none, is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
So move it. All those in favor of going into session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And we are in executive session. I'd like to welcome everyone to our July 11th, 2023 regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting. Thank you for coming. First item will be a moment of silence to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Be led by our new student board member. This is her first official night, Haley Wilderson. Will be with us for this year. We certainly welcome you. So if you would please stand for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. First order of business is to approve the agenda, so I'll take a motion as such. So moved by Jason. Second by Josh. Discussion. Those in favor of the public agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The agenda is adopted. Take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Jason.
Second.
Seconded by Rodney. Those in favor of the consent agenda as provided, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Consent agenda is approved. We'll now have closed session summaries and announcements. Also, for first evening, as our new superintendent, Dr. McCartney, and we welcome her as well.
Turn on the mic. I'm sorry. Right here. This is what I need to read. This is the Board of Education met in executive session on Tuesday, June 13th, 2023 at 4:02 p.m. under authority of Section 3-305 of the General Provisions article of the Annotated Code of Maryland to discuss the following items: review of executive session minutes, personnel topics pursuant to Section 3-305B1, legal topics pursuant to Section 3-305B7, and administrative function topics. Jason Van Sickle made a motion to go into executive session, and Matthew Paul seconded the motion. Final resolution, motion carries. Yay, Rodney Glodfeldy, Josh Heimball, Matthew Paul, and Jason Van Sickle. Jason Van Sickle made a motion to approve the executive session agenda, and Rodney Glodfeldy seconded the motion. Final resolution, motion carries. Yay, Rodney Glodfeldy, Josh Heinball, Matthew Paul, and Jason Van Sickle. The topics discussed in the closed session included the following. Minutes. May 9th, 2023 executive session minutes. Rodney Glodfeldy made a motion to approve the May 9th, 2023 executive session minutes, and Josh Heinball seconded the motion. Final resolution, motion carries. Yay, Rodney Glodfeldy, Josh Heinball, Matthew Paul, and Jason Van Sickle. Personnel. Certificated staffing recommendations, Dr. Jane Wilderson, Director of Human Resources and Employee Relations, presented certificated staffing recommendations for their consideration. Dr. Wilderson and Ms. Baker answered various questions from the board members. The board requested an amendment to the staffing recommendation list. The board took action on the amended staffing recommendations in the public session under the consent agenda. Interim superintendent. The board discussed the interim superintendent contract. Matthew Paul made a motion to approve the terms of the interim superintendent contract, and Joshua Heinball seconded the motion. Motion carries. Yay, Rodney Glodfeldy, Josh Heinball, Matthew Paul, and Jason Van Sickle. Part 3 was legal. 8th Street property, maintenance buildings. Mr. Brandon Hoover, board attorney, discussed the Board of Education property and building on 8th Street in Oakland. The board took action on this topic in the public session under the consent agenda. Pinnacle contract. Mr. Brandon Hoover, board attorney, and Mr. Paul Edwards, Director of Secondary Education, discussed the contract with Pinnacle Strategies, LLC, to provide apprenticeship program coordination. The board took action on this topic in the public session under new business. Administrative function. The board discussed several administrative function topics. The board considered these topics but did not take any action on these topics. Adjournment. Jason Van Sickle made a motion to adjourn the executive session, and Josh Heinball seconded the motion. Motion carries. Yay, Rodney Glodfeldy, Josh Heinball, Matthew Paul, and Jason Van Sickle. The board adjourned the executive session at 6:30 p.m. Mr. Tom Woods, Board President, Mr. Rodney Glodfeldy, Board Vice President, and board members, Mr. Josh Heinball, Dr. Matthew Paul, and Mr. Jason Van Sickle attended the meeting. Ms. Barbara Baker, Superintendent, Mr. Brandon Hoover, Board Attorney, Dr. Nicole Miller, Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Jane Wilderson, Director of Human Resources, Mrs. Allison Schweitzer, Director of Finance, Dr. Chelsea Mangus, Director of Special Education, Mr. Richard Weslowski, Director of Maintenance, Facilities, Operations, and Transportation, Mr. Paul Edwards, Director of Secondary Education, and Mrs. Karen Brewer, Executive Assistant to the Superintendent, attended all or part of the meeting. Second executive session, the board met in an executive session on Monday, June 19th, 2023 at 4:01 p.m. under authority Section 3305 of the General Provisions Act of the Annotated Code of Maryland to discuss a personnel topic pursuant to Section 3305B1. The topics discussed in the closed session included the following. Personnel pursuant to Section 3305B1. Interim superintendent contract. The board discussed the interim superintendent contract. Mr. Brandon Hoover, board attorney, discussed revisions to the contract. Josh Heinball made a motion to approve the revised contract. Matthew Paul seconded the motion. Final resolution motion carries. Josh Heinball, Matthew Paul, and Jason Van Sickle. Adjournment. Matthew Paul made a motion to close the meeting, and Jason Van Sickle seconded the motion. Final resolution, motion carries. Yay, Josh Heinball, Matthew Paul, and Jason Van Sickle. The board adjourned the executive session at 4:07 p.m. The following board members attended the executive session: Mr. Tom Woods, Board President, Mr. Josh Heinball, Dr. Matthew Paul, and Mr. Jason Van Sickle. Also in attendance was Mr. Brandon Hoover, Board Attorney.
I might add for clarification, Mr. Glotfelty was unable to attend that meeting. He was out of the country, and we couldn't make that connection. So I did want to clarify that he missed that meeting because of those circumstances.
Upcoming events, I'll get this down. Upcoming events and dates of school-related events and meetings with the board and public. July 13th, MABE, Boardmanship Academy, Public Information Act. That is a virtual training. Should any board members, well, that already happened, from 9 to 12 p.m. No, it happens in 2 days, if anyone's interested. July 17th through the 20th and July 24th through the 27th, we begin our summer program for elementary and middle school students. Those programs are throughout the county. Accident, Broadford Elementary, and at Broadford Elementary, we'll also be serving young Glade students. Crellin Elementary, Friendsville, Grantsville, Route 40, Swan Meadow, Northern Middle, and Southern Middle. Those programs will run from 9 to 2 p.m. with transportation being provided. There may be a need to tier the start times just a little bit due to shared transportation needs. July 27th, the May Board Service Academy on the blueprint for Maryland's future. Virtual training will be from 9 to 12 that day. July 31st through August the 5th, we have the Garrett County Fair. The Garrett County Public Schools will have a booth at that fair. We are signing some of our staff up for different time slots. If any board member would like to participate in that, please let either Mark Green or me know. We would love to have you join us at celebrating the successes of our school system. New student board member orientation is virtual, and that is scheduled for August the 3rd from 9 to 4 p.m. On August the 7th and 8th, administrators and supervisors throughout the county come back for our back-to-school retreat, and that will be held at Garrett College. October 2nd through 4th, we have the MABE Annual Conference. MABE is the Maryland Association of Boards of Education. That will be held in Annapolis. I would like to add one additional item, if I may. That is, every year, we often have a county-wide meeting for coming back to school. We have decided we're not doing that this year. That will have staff report directly to their schools. During that period of time, I will be visiting every school and walking through and welcoming everyone back in a more personal contact.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. McCartney. First recognition, our only recognition tonight, is for the Northern Garrett High School boys track team, state champions. And I've asked Mr. Van Sickle to make that presentation.
The exciting news and why most of you are here tonight, so we've got to get down to it. Okay, members of the Northern Garrett High School boys track and field team came in first place at the MPSSAA State Championship, which was held on May 25th and 27th at the Prince George's Sports and Learning Complex in Landover, Maryland. Ethan Peck was poised and patient before unleashing a powerful final kick on the last lap to win the 3,200-meter run in a time of 9 minutes, 51 51 seconds. And I'm going to round for everyone so we don't have to go through all the numbers. But his time bested his previous school record set in 2000, previous school record, sorry, in 2006. Earlier in season, Ethan broke the 10-minute barrier for the first time in a race he won by more than 2 minutes. To cap it off, the state meet, the final event that was the final event for their high school athletic careers, was the 4x400 meter relay. Those members on that team were Devontae Ross, Ethan Peck, Derek Benninger, Ashton Sober. They won the event for the second year in a row with a final time of 3 minutes 28 seconds, besting their own school record by 1.15 seconds. The relay team had a deeper, tougher competition this year, but they truly saved the best for last. In all, these 4 track athletes as individuals, as much as part of the relays, are responsible for 4 state championships, 3 runner-ups, 1 third place, 3 fourth place finishes at the state meet, and have set 9 school records. Overall, the Northern Garrett High School boys track and field team finished in 6th place at the state tournament out of a total of 31 teams. Awesome job, gentlemen. I actually used to run the 4x4 when I was much younger, much thinner, and went to Northern, so I know how tough that can be. We won't go over my time was. We were good for back in that day, but all right, just to would like to first recognize the Northern Garrett High School boys track team for their outstanding accomplishment. First place winners in the 3,200 meter run and the 4x400 meter relay team. So this was to be presented at the school, so we'll give you guys that when you come up. And as I call your name, please come ahead and come up. So first outstanding accomplishment for the 4x4, Devontae Ross. Peck. Outstanding accomplishment for 4x4. Derek Benninger. Ashton Sober. Ethan Peck for his outstanding accomplishment in 3,200 meter. Also like to recognize their coaches. Sean Peck. Perez. Here tonight is Rich Bowser.
Guys, you're more than welcome to stay for this excitement, or you
But
can
it's
leave.
not required.
You're supposed to be pretty fast, so I thought you'd already be gone. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Our first order of business, new business, is school bus contracts. This is an action item for tonight, and Mr. Bray will be the presenter. we will be taking each of these contracts individually.
First contract we have open serves the Grantsville Elementary, Northern Middle, and Northern High School, and the students that it's picking up will be in the Grantsville surrounding areas. And the selection committee wanted Kevin Wassel. Kevin Wassel is a current school bus contractor with 3 routes. Kevin is a lifetime resident of Garrett County and has been a successful contractor for over 35 years. And Kevin also provides excellent service for the students, staff, and parents of Garrett County Public Schools. And Kevin is also very involved in the Maryland State Contractors Association.
Madam Superintendent, do you have a recommendation? Superintendent is recommending that we award the first contract we're considering tonight to Mr. Kevin Wassel. Is there a motion as such?
So moved.
So moved by Jason,
Second.
seconded by Josh. We can now have discussion. Is there any discussion concerning Mr. Wassel's contract award? Hearing none. Those in favor of awarding this contract to Mr. Kevin Wassel signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And it is awarded.
Thank you.
Let's move to the second one.
The second contract also served Grantsville Elementary, Northern Middle, and Northern High. Students that resides that will be picked up will be the Chestnut Ridge Road, Myersdale Road, and National Pike, and some other areas east of Grantsville. The committee selected Miss Lori Cow. Miss Cow is a current school bus contractor with 2 routes. She lives in the Grantsville area. She's a lifelong resident of Garrett County and a successful school bus contractor and driver for 36 years. And she has assumed the contracts from her father, grandfather, which they began being contractors in 1930. Lori currently provides excellent service for the students, staff, and parents of Garrett County Public Schools.
Madam Superintendent, do you have a recommendation?
I recommend the award of this bus contract to Mrs. Lori Cow.
Okay, the superintendent is asking us to award to Ms. Lori Kyle this bus contract as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Rodney,
Second.
seconded by Josh. Any discussion concerning the award of the contract to Ms. Kyle? Hearing none. Those in favor of awarding the contract presented to us to Ms. Lori Kyle signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. And it is awarded. Now we'll go to the third.
All right, the last contract actually serves regular ed and special needs students. The school it serves is Axton Elementary, Northern Middle, Northern High, which students reside in the McHenry area and the surrounding area down in McHenry. The committee selected Double G, which the owner is Mr. Warren Glodfeldy. He's a current contractor with 2 bus routes. Warren is a lifelong resident of Garrett County and has been a successful school bus contractor and driver for the past 35 years. Warren and his drivers currently provide excellent service for the students, staff, and parents of Garrett County Public Schools.
Madam Superintendent, do you have a recommendation?
My recommendation is to award this contract to Double G as presented.
Superintendent is asking us to award this contract to Double G and the owner, Mr. Warren Glotfeldy. Is there a motion as such?
So moved.
So moved by Jason,
Second.
seconded by Josh. Discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor of awarding this contract to Double G and its owner, Mr. Warren Glotfeldy, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And it is awarded.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Next order of business is policies and procedures, plan provisions for other post-employment benefits. And this is also an action item for this evening. And be presented by Ms. Schweitzer.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so good evening. We're here tonight to ask for a minor modification to the plan provisions for the other post-employment benefit document. We are asking that the board take action this evening on this change. So this change is required due to the state's rehire program. In accordance with the state personnel and pensions articles of the Maryland Annotated Code, individuals who are retirees of the teachers' retirement system may now be rehired by school systems in the state of Maryland under certain circumstances. The additional sentence that we're proposing here in red aligns with the rehire regulations by the Maryland State Retirement and Pension Service. Basically, the essence is that the benefit is frozen at the time of the initial retirement. Therefore, the service period of the rehire does not affect a change in the benefit earned at the time of the retirement.
Madam Superintendent, do you have a recommendation concerning proposal before us?
Sir, my recommendation on this topic, as I'm a retiree, I defer my recommendation to my designee, Dr. Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Superintendent Gordon. As the designee, Dr. Miller, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend approval of the plan provisions for the post-employment benefits as revised and presented.
Recommendation has been made to the board that we adopt the presentation that was given to us. Is there a motion as such?
So moved.
So moved by Jason,
Second.
second by Josh. Discussion. Any discussion about the implementation of the sentence? Hearing none. Those in favor of adopting the plan provisions for other post-employment benefits as presented this evening, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And it is adopted.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is under continuing business, Educational Facilities Master Plan. It's also an action item this evening. Mr. Gray will make the presentation.
This evening, get approval for the educational facility.
Superintendent McCartney, do you have a recommendation?
Recommendation is to approve the 2023 Educational Facilities Master Plan as presented on the agenda and as posted on board docs. The state of Maryland requires this document to be submitted annually to lay the foundation for our subsequent capital improvement plan.
That being said, is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Josh. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Rodney. Discussion. Any questions or discussions? We've had a month to look at it. We've been asked to submit questions. I don't think there were any questions. We certainly are all very thankful, Ron and Rich, that you've provided us all the updates in red. Made it a lot easier for us to find what we need to read. And certainly you guys have done a great job of keeping that up to date throughout the year. We appreciate it very much. That being said, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of adopting the 2023-24 Educational Facilities Master Plan, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And it is adopted.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank everybody on your staff too that had a part of that, because I know it was not only just the two of you, but many people that had parts in that. So thank everybody for us. Well, moving right along, I tell you what, it's going to be a record tonight, I think. We are our student member report. Haley, welcome to the mic, and it's all yours.
So for the Garrett Institution Student Councils, we met in June and appointed 3 new members to the executive board. The board then met on June 19th to discuss plans for the upcoming year, including possible fundraisers and a plan for a picnic to kick off the year. We will be meeting again in July to further discuss these topics. For general student updates, College Board released high school students' AP scores this past week. Members of both Northern and Southern High School's FFA chapters attended the Maryland State Convention to compete and attend workshops with several members placing in their competitions. Summer school for both the high schools took place between June 20th and 29th. Also, several fall sports teams across the county have begun their summer conditioning training for the upcoming season. Lastly, for state student member communications, I have recently been in contact with other student members from across the state, and I look forward to communicating with them throughout the school year.
Thank you, Haley. Any questions for Haley? Board members? Anyone? That's kind of slow time of year. Sure it'll pick up, Haley. Board member updates. Anything between June and now? Okay, great. Now, superintendent updates, Northern Complex Central Office Plan and other items.
Thank you for the opportunity to update you on several initiatives we're undertaking in the school system. I'll start with the Northern Complex. We are reorganizing the administrative structure here at the Northern Complex between Northern High, Northern Middle, and the Hickory Environmental Center to better serve our students. We will be moving to employ a complex principal who will be overseeing all students and staff within the complex, meaning that that principal will really serve as a grade 6 to 12 principal. That will allow the principal to share staff more easily between the buildings within the complex. It will allow us to align our programs from 6 to 12 a little more easily within the complex. We will then move forward to having an assistant principal working directly under the principal along with the teachers reporting and other support staff to the principal across the complex, but we will have an assistant principal at both Northern High School and Northern Middle School and at the Hickory Environmental Center as we do now. We are really moving forward with this to enhance our ability to offer extended programs and to work more easily in scheduling our students and staff 6 to 12. We will be transitioning to this structure, which means our first step will be tomorrow. We'll be posting the position for the Northern Northern Complex Principal. So we look forward to this change, and again, we believe that that will serve our students very well as we go forward. The second update I would like to offer tonight is the relocation of our central office. This has been discussed for some time, and this is a part of our strategic plan for our buildings to return our current central office, which is on 2nd Street in Oakland, to return that to the county commissioners. What we will be doing is we have identified space here at Northern Middle that will allow for staff and visitors to easily and securely use a section of the building. In working with our current staff, who are located at the Dennett Road facility, and our Head Start community action partners, we have identified space at that location for the finance office, student services office, and the superintendent's office. Those offices will be relocating hopefully by Thanksgiving, but by the end of November. The offices that will be placed here at Northern Middle School are primarily our academic team from the central office. They will be relocated to this building prior to the start of school so that we are not interfering in any way with our students' return to school. The building on 2nd Street has served our school system very well over the years, and we greatly, of course, appreciate the commissioner's support in providing that space to us. The third item that I would like to report is regarding Swan Meadow School, and I don't know that anyone from the Swan Meadow community is here tonight, but we were approached by Swan Meadow, by the community, with a request to adjust their school hours to better serve their students in the community and the families. With the cooperation of our transportation office, food service office, we were able to approve that request, and we're happy to do so in support of the school. Therefore, Swan Meadow will operate on a 7:30 to 2:30 daily schedule beginning with the 2023-24 school year. The last thing, if I may, just one more. I want to thank the staff that is here, staff that isn't here, certainly the board and the community for the opportunity to serve as the interim superintendent for this school system. I really look forward to a fantastic year as we continue to build on the success of the Garrett County Public School System. And again, thank you for having faith in me, and it is an honor to serve.
Well, the good fortune is ours, Dr. McCartney, and worked together for too many years to talk about. But I'm sure you're going to do a wonderful job. We're fortunate to have somebody of your experience to lead us through a difficult year that's upcoming. That being said, are there any questions for Dr. McCartney about any of her updates or anything that she's talked about?
I just want to clarify the Northern Complex Administrator's internal posting.
The posting for the Northern Complex principal will be an internal posting only.
Anything else? Any other questions? I will note that you notice that there's only 4 of us. Dr. Paul is now in Bridgeport, West Virginia, as the pastor of his new church there. And it is my belief that we will perhaps be informed of a new board member, hopefully this week, where at least that's the plan, that we will have somebody that we can welcome into the group hopefully by Friday. So I'm sure that the commissioners will announce that as they move towards that. So with that being said, we did set a record. It's a 45-minute meeting. So we're off to a great start. So I can say, as I told you the other day we met, it only gets harder. This is the easiest one.
I think my first meeting we went to 12 o'clock at night.
Well, maybe that says something about you and something about
No, it
her.
wasn't about me. You, I was.
Yeah, there was no public comment at either juncture, so I will take a motion to adjourn. So moved by Jason, second by Josh. Those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. And we are adjourned.